It's not going to work like that. You have to do this.
Oh, okay.
Just plug it here.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. A social work pioneer by the name of the Honorable Adolphus Ed Towns once said, social workers, we cannot afford to stand by, sit back, and allow others to make policy for us to implement. Good afternoon again. I am Dr. Judith Crocker Billingsley, Dr. J, one of your MCs for this national tribute to Dr. Mildred Joyner, who is our national president of the National Association of Social Workers. I am joined by my esteemed colleague, Dr. Dezette Johnson, who is the director of field education at Johnson C. Smith University.
Greetings to my fellow social workers, students, and colleagues worldwide. We are so honored that you are here with us today as we highlight the work of our distinguished social work guest, Dr. Mildred Joyner, during March is Social Work Month, hosted by Dr. Helen T. Caldwell, the Associate Dean of Social Work in the School of Social Work in the College of Business and Professional Studies at Johnson C. Smith University. This celebration is just a depiction of collaborative effects by social work scholars, national social work organizations, social work students, legislators, community leaders, and dear friends of Dr. Joyner. Social work was once defined by Barker as the applied science of helping people to achieve an effective level of functioning while effecting change, enhancing the well-being of others. Dr. Caldwell has demonstrated many visions for advancing social work students, colleagues, and faculty to the title of scholars. And today's tribute to Dr. Joyner, which she is hosting, is Dean Caldwell's way of demonstrating the power of social work.
Dr. Helen T. Caldwell created the School of Social Work, in which she serves as the Associate Dean. In 2021, she co-founded Exploring Professional Opportunities for Black Men in Social Work due to an increasing enrollment of Black male student social workers at Johnson C. Smith University. Dr. Mint Joyner helped to create the guest list. Dr. Caldwell prides herself on her work and the impact that she's made on faculty, on students. Our hostess earned a BA degree in sociology and a minor in social welfare from Jackson State University. She earned a master's degree in social work from Rutgers University, 2 years of coursework in a social work program at The Ohio State University, and she completed her PhD in urban higher education at Jackson State University in Mississippi. Dean Caldwell is a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Please welcome your hostess, our dean, a dear friend of Dr. Mint Joyner, to do the national tribute to Mildred Joyner as she comes and welcomes and greet all of you. Dr. Caldwell.
Thank you so much, Dr. J. I am just delighted to do this. We have been waiting on this day. This is a special time for us at Johnson C. Smith University. And as you know, we have had a wonderful month. It's not over. We've had a wonderful month of exciting opportunities. Just to say that social work is important. And certainly today is your day for us to say how important you are to us. You have been like a mentor, like a part of Johnson C. Smith University. And so we want to take this opportunity to host this event. I'm just humbled. You know, when I was asked, Dr. J asked me to do this, I said, wow, yes, of course, because you are so special to us. So I just want to greet all of you to this panel of discussion. We certainly see our Dean of the College of Professional Studies, Dr. Obehi, and I am glad that he is joining us. And thank you so much. Want to wave your hand so that folk will see you. He's our new dean, and we are just delighted that he's here and leading us through this process. Now, I would also like to say that we have a lot of contributions. We have a lot of political contributions. So at this time, I'd like to read to you a letter from our Congressperson, Alma Adams, here in Mecklenburg County, who just could not be here, but wanted to show expression. And I will take the time to read this. Dated March 24th, 2023. Greetings. On behalf of the more than 800,000 citizens of North Carolina's 12th Congressional District, covering communities within Mecklenburg County and Cabarrus County, I honor your service and dedication today. I am unable to attend this event in person, but know that my support for JCSU, HBCUs, and for your immeasurable service to all is unwavering. Today, I extend congressional commendations to the audience of the Food Security Evaluation Report and recognize the impact of the esteemed Dr. Mildred Joyner as National President for the National Association of Social Workers. Dr. Joyner and the over 120,000 members of NASW have made compounding impacts on the lives of people across this great campus, city, state, and nation. As we celebrate March as Social Work Month, I believe that state of our nation, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the very present disparities in areas of housing, healthcare, hunger, and higher education has shown each of us the necessity and value of skilled social work professionals. The work that you do and the work that I do is not very different. We share a steadfast resolve to make life better for all the underserved, the underrepresented, and those in need of a champion. Thank you for using your knowledge, skill, and compassion to uplift those who are vulnerable, marginalized, and or living in poverty. Quite often you work long hours without rest, and you press on each day without recognition. But I see you, and today I celebrate you with sincere appreciation. Alma S. Adams, PhD, North Carolina 12th District, Member of Congress. And I think that's an outstanding recommendation or a recognition of you. And so we just wanted to make sure that you receive this information and that certainly we will send this to you for your records.
Thank you, Dr. Caldwell, for hosting this phenomenal celebration and for sharing the greetings from Congressional Woman Adams, who is now a member of the Congressional Social Work Roundtable that Dr. Joyner and a member of the JCSU faculty serve under the leadership of Dr. Angela Henderson. Throughout this tribute to Dr. Joyner, please feel free to send Dr. Joyner your comments and greetings in the chat. Former Congressman Towns continued by saying, social workers, those of us who have studied and implemented the policies, have seen the effects of the programs and the deficits in the programs, and know the unfulfilled needs of the people. Social workers need to run for office. Maria Gorella was elected mayor of West Sacramento, California in 2020, to the city council in 2018, and over the years has held many advisory seats within Yolo County. Martha earned a bachelor's degree in social work from California State University, Los Angeles, and a master's degree in social work from the University of Southern California. As a licensed clinical social worker, she has represented her colleagues in California as a member of the National Association of Social Workers Board and as vice president of NASW California Legislators and Political Affairs. Martha's long history of service, specific to West Sacramento, includes her time as chair of the West Sacramento Planning Commission, as a member of the Aging Commission, and as a member of the Economic Development Advisory Commission. A dear colleague and friend, our honoree, let's welcome the Honorable of West Sacramento, Martha Gorella, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Ms. Johnson, for the recognition. I want to first say thank you so much for the honor of being able to express my deep appreciation for Dr. Mitt Joyner's contributions to the United States and internationally. In my work with Dr. Joyner on the National Association of Social Workers, I have greatly admired her leadership to lift up the social work values in the country and at an international level, to bring equity when long before there was huge battles that we are experiencing today. Long before then, Dr. Joyner recognized the gaps and she elevated that voice. She empowered many members on the board to speak up and to fight for equity and to address those issues in Congress and within the president's administration. We all knew when the Trump administration came that it was under threat. We were at a crisis response. And Dr. Joyner responded very proactively to addressing that and to making sure we held the line on the achievements that were made. And moving forward, we continue to make progress. And that was accomplished. And as a result of that, we see not only some major impact and through congressional legislation, but we see social workers at the table being able to make a difference. And that's thanks to Dr. Joyner's leadership in the congressional level, at the local level, and her empowering me to run for city council and mayor. Thanks to Dr. Joyner that I really felt that support as a social worker to be able to make that happen. It was very intimidating, but that support really lifted me up to feel like I can make that difference happen. And on top of that, there was always this, do social workers really hold a value in leadership in elected office? And Dr. Joyner really articulated how we do have that value. And we do hold the necessary elements to lift up our community, especially now as we are experiencing the remnants of COVID in our lives, the devastating impact it has had. And now in Congress, in the presidential administration, mental health is a very important, salient topic in every aspect. And that's because NASW has done an incredible job with Dr. Joyner's leadership in making sure that we address that we reduce and fight the stigma. And there are so many other areas that I just want to be able to thank Dr. Joyner and express my appreciation, in addition to making NASW a stronger national organization and making sure that we have the appropriate leadership to continue to carry us forward into the future. Dr. Joyner, I just want to applaud and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for all that you have accomplished in your leadership role at NASW. I remember walking in as a board member and I just admired your leadership, your strength, your tenacity. Your words always spoke through and cut through the chase and made sure that we got things done immediately. You didn't whitewash anything. You just made it all, the valid points were made and you articulated it in a way that all of us, followed through and made sure that we made things happen thanks to your leadership. So we greatly appreciate all that you've accomplished.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Martha Guerrero. President Joyner, hearing the voice of former Congressman Towns pushing social workers to run for office, our next speaker is actually one of your social work students. Dr. Caldwell and social work professors actually met Maria Pacheco last year in November at the student-led collaborative consortium with Fresno State University, Mississippi State University, University of Arkansas, and Johnson C. Smith to share conversations regarding banning critical race theory from our curriculum, our textbooks, and in our general conversations in classrooms. It was at this time that her professor, Dr. Travis Cronin, shared with us that she was running for mayor in a city called Kerman in California. The Honorable, now Mayor, Maria Pacheco is the first Latino mayor for the city of Kerman, Dr. Joyner. She is the executive director of Higher Education for All, where she focused on serving low-income and first-generation students. Mayor Pacheco serves on the Council of Government, as most mayors do, and the Fresno County Rural Transit Agency. While holding these positions, she is also a wife, a mother, and profoundly states that she is a junior at Fresno State University, Dr. Joyner, majoring in social work, with an emphasis on macro practice, and at the same time, she's holding on to a GPA of a 3.5. Please welcome Mayor Maria Pacheco. Mayor Pacheco.
Oh my goodness. I've never heard myself introduced like that. What an honor. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for inviting me to be here, such a special occasion and amongst such distinguished panel. I just like to express my admiration for Dr. Mildred Joyner for all that you have done. The mayor before me just expressed so much of those achievements and those accomplishments of yours. And it's women like me need women like you. Thank you for being the light to those of us who have flints and a passion to be lit. I have been doing social work for over 18 years here in the Central Valley in California, working with at-risk youth. It's a difficult position to be in, to know that every single day that I come to work, I'm going to face a challenge. I'm going to face a crisis, and to get up and to keep going. And that's because of women like you who have beaten that path for me, who have showed women like me that we can be at the table. I've heard you say over and over again on your podcast, we have to be at the table. It's not easy. It's not easy. But you do it, and you do it with such bravery and courage, and you give me the life. You empower me to believe in myself and to believe in my value and what I can do and what I can bring to the table. I admire you. I thank you. I appreciate you. I look forward to continue to watch you as you grow, and to let you know that I continue to grow because of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pacheco, for those remarks. And we look forward to the social policy debate on Monday among students from the 4 schools we mentioned in the introduction. The Council on Social Work Education, CSWE, recently named their new incoming president and CEO, Dr. I hope I don't mispronounce it, Vakay Lahi. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. PhD, MSW. She will begin her term as president and CEO on January the 17th, 2023. She has 25 years of professional experience, and it spans over several higher education institutions and nonprofit social work education. She joined CSWE from her most recent role as Dean and Professor of the College of Health and Society at Hawaii Pacific University. In this role, she oversaw the social work, public health, physical therapy, occupational therapy, and physician assistance programs. The nursing program was also under her purview for 3 years, during which a DNP was accredited and an MSN online program was developed. Born in Toga and raised in Hawaii, she received her PhD in social work from the University of Utah. She is a proud representative of her Pacific Islander community, one of the most underrepresented communities in academia, healthcare, and government. Let's welcome the new CEO and president of CSWE, Dr. Vakay.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
Sorry.
Not to worry. I've been called worse, so that's perfectly fine. So I am really, really thrilled to be a part of this conversation and this congratulation and the national tribute to you, Dr. Joyner. Mahalo, malo apito, and thank you on behalf of the Council on Social Work Education for all that you are and have done for and with the Council on Social Work Education. You know, when I think about MIT that we so passionately call MIT, Dr. Joyner, MIT, several things come to mind. And MIT, you are the epitome of the concept that we have in the Pacific called mana wahine, which translates to powerful women. And I think others who have been mentored by you and who have been nurtured and cultivated by you would agree with me that you are the epitome of that concept of mana wahine. Another concept that I think about when I think about you is lifting as you climb. I am a beneficiary of your grace and generosity throughout the years, from the first time I met you in the beginning of my career till now. And just being in your presence and those one-on-one conversations, you gave me courage. And that courage actually got passed on to other women who were in the same situation, and the belief that the sky is no limit. So thank you for instilling that in me and the rest of us women who you have mentored throughout the years. I also think about the future when I think of you. You're always looking out for the ones that are coming up, opening the door and then keeping the door open for anyone else that's coming up. So thank you for that. But I think most importantly, you remind me and represent for me and so many women in and outside of social work, the heart leadership model by James Harris. H for be honorable. That's who you are. E for empower others, for me and so many others. A for being authentic. You can never be anything else but me. So when you show up, you show up. And so we all appreciate that and really, really, really appreciate the fact that we were blessed with that. R is focusing on relationship. For some reason, you remind me of that every time I have an opportunity to sit with you. You said, just cultivate those relationships. It's about relationships. So thank you for that. And T is to remain touchable. Even when you were the president of the board for CSWE, you took the time. You were always available. It didn't even matter whether it was me or somebody else who's more seasoned. You remain touchable. So thank you for that. So Mitt, thank you for being the epitome of the heart leadership model.
You're all gonna see me wiping my eyes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Very touched by that. By every.
So at this time, we're going to ask one of Mitt's closest friends. She has several, and I'm honored to be one of them. Okay, Marla Blunt Carter, to read to you, Dr. Joyner, just a couple of the tributes that are currently coming in. And to our listening audience, go ahead and put the chats in. Marla Blunt Carter will, throughout this program, will be sharing them with Dr. Joyner. Marla?
Yes, so I just am so honored to be here to join all of you in paying tribute and honor to our wonderful friend, inspiration for me, mentor, counsel, confidant, Joyner. She's such a beautiful woman, and the chat is blowing up. So I'm going to read a few of these, but I just want, before I read these, I wanted to share with you my relationship with Mitt and how we came to be such good friends. I come from a political family and a political family of social workers, and Mitt knew my language. She was the only person outside of my family that I thought I could connect with when it came to the intersection of politics and social work. She understood what I wanted to do in the profession, and she helped to make it happen. We came together forming a White House briefing for social workers. And it was as if we knew each other for years. In our first meeting, I found out that her roommate was named Marla. And that to me was a sign that we were going to be friends forever. So Mitt, I want to add to the tributes in saying that I don't want to wait to give you your flowers. You deserve them now. You've done so much for me in such a short amount of time that I thank you. You've given me the confidence that I didn't even know I needed to make some of the steps that I am making now. When I think of Shirley Chisholm, in her words of being unbought and unbossed, that's you. When I think about Shirley Chisholm's words of bringing that folding chair, you've inspired me to build my own table. And so just know that you're more than a social worker, you're more than a teacher. You are a beacon of hope for our profession. What you've done for so many, it's beyond belief. And the comments say that. They say, congratulations, Mitt. I'm so proud of you. And I'm proud to call you a friend and a soror. I had to say that one first because I know your sorority means something to you. Karima says, what a beautiful and well-deserved tribute to Dr. Joyner. Thank you for all you did for our profession during your tenure as NASW president. We are so grateful for your service. Lawana Barron says, Dr. Joyner, I thank you for your incredible vision in NASW and our profession. I have enjoyed working with you through NASW and ASI. Best wishes, sister, Lawana Barron. And Gisela Grumbach says, congratulations to Mitt. You deserve every accolade. You are a champion for the profession and mentor for so many professionals. What a beautiful tribute. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think we're going to come back and share some more because they keep pouring in. So I will follow Dr. J's lead and jump back into the chat at any time. And let me just say this. I didn't have 24 hours to prepare my thoughts or write a speech because Dr. J just got on the phone and said, hey, what you doing tomorrow? I will drop everything for Mitt Joyner.
Thank you, Marla. And we want to say thank you too on behalf of Dr. Caldwell for asking the questions of our social policy students at every essential chat for Mitt. Dr. Catherine Smith. She earned a PhD at Ohio State University, and she earned her MSW at the University of Washington. She is a professor emerita in the Department of Social Work at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. Dr. Smits is a social work educator. She's a trainer, accreditation specialist, and consultant, and has dedicated many years to working as a critical multiculturalism and anti-oppression education and practice, and environmental justice, and with sustainability. Dr. Smits has extensive publications, including the book Critical Multiculturalism and Intersectionality in a Complex World, which was written collectively by experienced scholars to include our guest of honor. She is an editor for professional journals and books, including the editor-in-chief for the first volume of the Global Journal of Peace Research. In her soft-spoken voice, Mitt, in a recent conversation that I had with Dr. Smits on Monday night, Dr. Smits said, who is a prolific writer and social work scholar, kept saying the words to me, Dr. Joyner, she mentors me. So please, let's welcome Dr. Catherine Smits. Dr. Smits.
I knew I would forget to unmute. So thank you. It's an honor to be here. And let me say, I'm fortunate to have Mildred Joyner, who's a leader, advocate, educator, and mentor, as my friend, colleague, and mentor. We've been on learning journeys for a couple of decades as we engage in writing, creating, training, advocating, sometimes all in one package. And let me say, during that time, she has been at the leadership for the Undergraduate Educators Association, the Council on Social Work Education, and the National Association of Social Work. So she really has put in the time to create a framework for us to move forward from. So the opportunities I've had to work with Dr. Joyner have made and continue to make my life and my understanding of life richer. She has really helped me to know what I do not see and helped me to listen, watch, and process. Further, she always reminds us, and in fact reminds us all, that knowing is not enough. Action is required. A real leader, which Dr. Joyner is, lifts while they climb. Or as Dr. Vakalahi said, she lifts, well, actually lifts while she leads. And Vakalahi said, lifts while she climbs. It's work to be a leader because you have to be inclusive of everyone and bring people along to make things work. We have a mutual commitment to forging a better future with younger generations who are now taking up the mantle. The strength we have in our country is our vast and encompassing diversity. The transformative change needed requires knowing the complexity, facing the negative, and all while seeing the possibilities. Our future is about us. Change occurs in interaction, in working together toward collective goals. As a leader, advocate, educator, and mentor, Dr. Joyner continues to help us build a future of transformative change. She brings us together, mentors us all, highlights the truth, builds relationships, makes connections, and nurtures others. No one stands alone. And as she has written in a book on mentoring women for leadership, she wrote the foreword. She wrote, today's leaders who possess the strongest characteristics for mentoring others are unselfish risk takers with the ability to nurture others. Leaders enjoy creating opportunities for new leaders to come together and act on a common agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you, Dr. Smits. For those of us who actually know Dr. Mitt Joyner, we know that Mitt loves her good music. Mitt loves her sports. Mitt would actually click her heels for her Philadelphia Eagles. When Steph Curry's team is playing, the Philadelphia Phillies A native of Augusta, Georgia, tenor Mr. Timothy Miller, whose mother is also a social worker, Dean Caldwell. He is a performer with both national and international credits. He has multiple operatic roles in critically acclaimed performances like Dr. Joyner, Porgy and Bess in Paris, Grenada, and Normandy. His most recent performance that the world witnessed just in January, as you see in the photo, was with our own President Joseph Biden in January at Ebenezer Baptist Church, where Senator Raphael Warnock is our pastor. Dr. Joyner, you may remember Mr. Miller for his stirring rendition of God Bless America. Yeah, during the seventh inning stretch of the Atlanta Braves home game and the game 5 of the 2021 World Series. Mr. Miller holds a BA degree from Morehouse College and an MM degree from Mann's College of Music in New York. Mr. Miller is currently an assistant professor of voice and music at Morehouse College. Dr. Joyner, in your honor of your love for sports, your love for good music, I bring to you Mr. Timothy Miller.
If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody they are traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a good man ought, if I can bring back beauty to a world upraught, if I can spread love's message that the Master taught, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain.
Surprise, Dr. Joyner, surprise.
Surprise, a moving surprise. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Marla?
Yes, I wanted to just share a couple more of these and to just piggyback on that beautiful, beautiful performance by Mr. Miller. Denise James says, this song is so touching and befitting for a wonderful social worker in person as you, Mitt. That's from Denise James. And Kudor Snell says, Mitt's living is not in vain. A true social justice champion and friend committed to social work here and across the globe. Honored and blessed to have her in my life, our lives, Godspeed. And then I wanted to read another one if I can find it. Where did it go? Well, I can't find it, but Mitt, your daughter is proud of you. She's proud of you and she's proud of all of us social workers, and she sent her best in the chat as well. And then we have one from Anna McFadder. Mitt, you have consistently represented all of the best in what it means to be an exceptional social worker, leader, mentor, and friend. Thank you for always being available when I and so many others needed you. That's true. As a mentor and colleague and role model for so many. I am blown away that no matter what's on your plate, you find the time to show your love, compassion, and encouragement. You will always be in my heart. Anna McP. And Rosalie Smiley says, Dr. Joyner, you are the best. Thank you for all you do. Your words of our work isn't ever done. These words have inspired. I wish you the best of health, peace, joy, love, and laughter. Stay safe and be well. Dr. J.
Dr. Johnson. To be able to introduce one of my former congressional interns is indeed an honor. Kenneth Hagler II, exceptionally known as K2, is a leader amongst his peers and colleagues, a speaker, and an agent out of foster care youth advocate. K2 is a BSW graduate, cum laude, of Johnson C. Smith University. Dr. Joyner, you witnessed history made from the School of Social Work when Kenneth publicly became the first male BSW social work student to obtain a congressional internship on the Hill with the Congressional Research Institute for Social Work and Policy on the Hill, where Dr. Charles E. Lewis Jr. is the director. K2 was a 2-year fellow for the Social Work Reinvestment Act Lecture Series, a fellow of the Charlotte Racial Justice Consortium, and he served as president for the Social Work Club at JCSU. K2 is an avid volunteer and engages in policy research to fortify his passion for social justice and plans to run for public office as a social worker. When K2 is away from his life's work, he shares precious moments with his family. We're so proud of you, Kenneth. Please welcome him as he introduces our nationally acclaimed author and dear friend of Dr. Joyner, Mr. Kenneth K2 Hagler.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Thank you to everyone who is here today to celebrate one Dr. Mitt Joyner, an incredible human being, an amazing woman, wife, leader. We are so grateful for you and that you stay committed to yourself first, for the things that you wanted to accomplish in life and the things that you wanted to see in life. That is the strongest beacon of hope that you could ever give us. So we thank you for your personhood, for your humanity, and that beams through your leadership. So thank you so much. And I'm so honored to be here. And more extensively to introduce one Mr. Steve Pemberton, an incredible speaker. And I'd like to briefly share some of his life's work with you. Steve Pemberton is a visionary senior human resource executive, human capital strategist, best-selling author, and ardent human rights champion, a passionate communicator and powerful presenter. Steve is also sought after motivational speaker who is widely appreciated for his ability to connect with a broad spectrum of audiences. His relentless mission to encourage others continues to deliver trusted guideposts for living, learning, and leading. From Monster.com to Walgreens, Steve has constantly served in leadership positions that furthered his gift for seeking the greater good and creating engaging communities. Most recently, he served as the Chief Human Resources Officer of WorkHuman, a technology company that delivers performance management and employee management solutions to corporations worldwide. There, he avidly fostered the company's goal of inspiring HR leaders to embrace more humanity and cultivate a higher purpose in the workplace. He is exceptionally skilled at creating inspiring, innovative work environments while recognizing and developing talent. His next practices approach has successfully created award-winning organizational cultures that create maximum performance. Steve's philosophy on human capital has been shaped by positions that deliver talent solutions to HR executives. As a result, he has observed how domestic and international organizations manage talent, particularly as the leadership between employer and employee has transformed in a world still recovering from a global pandemic. A highly sought after voice on workplace trends, he presents at the most recognizable HR conferences in the world. He is interviewed often by the business media on human capital matters and consults with organizations across the world for their talent strategies. Beyond his professional achievements in the world, human resources, Steve is widely known as the author of 2 critically acclaimed and best-selling books. His first effort, A Chance in the World, shares his extraordinary story of how he defines seemingly impossible odds as an orphan navigating the perils of foster care system, all while trying to solve the mystery of his own identity. In 2018, the book was adapted into an independent film of the same name. A partnership with Houghton Mifflin Harcourt led to creating an integrated and social emotional learning curriculum based on the book, taught in high schools throughout the United States. Steve's second book, The Lighthouse Effect, How Ordinary People Can Have Extraordinary Impact in the World, offers a practical encouragement for becoming a human lighthouse, turning personal pain into purposeful mission to help others as he has done in his own life. This framework for living, learning, and leading continues to inspire across a multiplicity of sectors, from corporate America and the nonprofit world to higher education. The power of his life story and many engaging insights has led to numerous high-profile media appearances, including The Today Show, CBS Evening News, Tamron Hall, and People magazine. Steve's personal and professional accomplishments have been recognized through numerous honors. A former candidate for the United States Senate, he received his prestigious Horizon Award from the U.S. Congress, presented to private sector individuals who have expanded opportunities for all Americans through their own contributions and who have set exceptional examples for young people through their success in life. Steve is also a recipient of the Lifetime Achiever Award by the New England Opportunity Association. Winston-Salem State University, Providence College, and Boston College are among the institutions who awarded him an honorary doctorate. With a steadfast commitment to people and community well-being, Steve gives abundantly of his time, talent, and convictions. His robust history of service includes membership on the boards of University and College Accountability Network, Loyola Academy, Boston College, the Willie Network, the Academy of Urban School Leadership, Boys Hope, Girls Hope, and Disability, and the leading nonprofit resource for business disability inclusion worldwide. At every turn, Steve continues with his own lighthouse effect by fulfilling his mission for all to have a chance in the world. Without further ado, it is my esteemed pleasure and honor to present to you Mr. Steve Pemberton.
Thank you, K2, for that introduction. I do apologize to everybody for the length of it because you don't need to hear all that about me. It is so much more important for us to spend our time talking, as we all have been so wonderfully so, about Dr. Joyner, Mitt, as we all know her. I have thought long and hard about my remarks, and it just occurs to me that for all of us, actually, this is a bit of, in all candor, an exercise in futility, because it is virtually impossible to capture Mitt's life, her passion, her impact. It's a reminder of that beautiful adage that says a society grows great when the elders of that society plant trees in whose shade they know they will never sit. Mitt has planted so many trees that neither she nor any of us actually really in this life get to see how it really turns out. And it's such a privilege actually be considered an individual who has that kind of impact, giving shade to others, particularly the young and the defenseless. Many of you as students and colleagues, I became Miss Colleague a little bit later. My experience, though, with her also comes from the lens of someone who navigated the foster care system, who saw both its perils and its possibilities. So my connection to Mitt was through that lens specifically, and seeing how she did, has, and will continue to improve that system. If one's travels ever take you to Africa or have taken you to Africa, a good place to visit is Kenya. Actually, north or central southern Kenya and northern Tanzania, where you will encounter the Maasai people. And they are a beautiful people. Their very appearance, tall and ebony colored, dressed in the brightest of colors, is arresting, just seeing them in their sight. And they have traditions and customs, as all cultures do. One of them, though, is the way in which they greet each other. Like every other culture, they have introductions and formalities and some things that are informal. But for the Maasai, there is a particular way they greet each other. And that is called Kaserian Ngera, which means, how are the children? They do not ask hello. They want to know, how are the children? And what they are hoping that you will say in return is Sapate Ngera, which means that all of the children are well. Not just that my children are well or your children are well, but that all of the children are well. That is quite literally how I think about Mitt, that she has tried to ensure that all of the children are well, not just her children and those grandbabies that we know she adores, but that all of the children are well. And she has done that by living up to her name. We are all bequeathed with a certain name when we come into the world. Few of us are so beautifully named, and then over the course of our life live up to that name. But Mildred quite literally means gentle strength. That's what it means. She has lived up to that name over and over and time again. We affectionately call her Mitt, but I always think about what that means to be this unapologetic advocate, to take stands even when they are uncomfortable, and to do so unapologetically. And that's important to do in any time, in any generation, but particularly in this time, when we've seen an increasingly dissonant and discordant society whose systems threaten to leave our children by the wayside, children who have done nothing wrong. They have committed no crime. They may have been born into structures that simply did not enable them to deliver their best and to do their best, but they too are looking for their chance in the world. And one of the things that I came to learn much later on in my life is that those of us who are orphaned share something in common it's always all around us, but we don't think of it this way, but just about all of the superheroes you know are orphans. Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, Wonder Woman, Frodo Baggins, Jane Eyre, Little Orphan Annie, Harry Potter, all orphaned. Orphans are like superheroes, but even superheroes need protectors. And that's what MIT has been, this protector of superheroes, this raiser of superheroes, putting a little bit of shade over them and seeing them on their way. You know, I think often too about how we try to capture someone's life, you know, their journey. And I think about specifically in the context of women. I think about it in the context of my own wife and my own daughter. And I'm thinking about in this context, if you have a moment today, you just grab your playlist or Apple Music, Spotify, whatever you listen to, and just pull up Maxwell's This Woman's Work and listen to that for a moment. And just listen to the lyrics when he talks about a woman's work and what she does in the world and the impact that she leaves. Mitt, I would say to you that two of his lines in that song, speak to you so powerfully when he says, I know you got a little life in you left. I know you got a lot of strength left. And that strength just isn't, for you and your family, but it's in the children that you have impacted, the systems, the colleagues. You see that all in the tributes in such a powerful and compelling way. And yet it's not lost on me, and I don't think it's lost on any of us, that this strength that Mitt has poured into us comes with an expectation. This is not a free ride she gives us. This is an expectation that we will do for others what she has done for us. That's the Mitt Joyner mission. And when you enter into a covenant with her as her friend, as her colleague, that, my friends, that is the deal. That's how this gets down. That's how it happens. We have this responsibility to her. We have this responsibility to carry on the work that she's initiated and that she has begun. You see my background here is the lighthouse. Words, especially in moments like this, are hard to come by. We need something bigger than that. We need something bigger than us, which is why I find the lighthouse to be so appropriate for this occasion. There is a timelessness to this architectural marvel. It has been with us since ancient times, actually. Today, there are 22,937 of them, all along coastlines in the world. And yet, technology has largely disrupted them. We don't need them to navigate the sea anymore. We have technology to do that, and yet still they endure. So why is it that they would endure then? Well, it seems if it's not to help us navigate the sea, then perhaps it is to help us navigate humanity, because the best qualities of the lighthouse are the best qualities of humanity. They're the best qualities of Mitt Joyner. Where others have seen circumstances, she, like the lighthouse, sees possibilities. She turns doubts into destinations. There's a selflessness to her. She doesn't much care about your race, your gender, your upbringing. None of that matters to her, just like it doesn't matter to the lighthouse. She gives from where she is with whatever she has, whether it's a kind word, whether it is a moment of acknowledgement, or whether it's being a steady, constant, consistent lighthouse. And yet lighthouses, we should know, exist in very difficult places. Wherever you see a lighthouse, there's difficulty. And there's also protection. It's this fascinating duality of a lighthouse, that it is this beautiful, powerful, majestic structure like MIT is. And yet it also is immersed in this world of at times uncertainty. And its response to that uncertainty is to protect and to guide and ultimately to save. And what an honor it is to be in somebody's presence like that. I was trying to think about the exact first time that I met Mitt, because you would think that I could locate it ideally, but our relationships over the years have so deepened that I can't exactly pinpoint it. But we all have people in our life, and they're rare, but people who, when they summon you, you come. And it doesn't much matter when they call, what they're looking for. You just know the very nature of their being requires you to be there. That's the impact that Mitt has. When she summons you, you know the place from which she does it. You know that lighthouse impact that she has. You know that there's a selflessness to it, that she's asking for you to be a guide and a beacon. So Mitt, this is our opportunity to share that back with you, for us to capture both in word and in tribute just how much you mean. And for me, for whom though life and time has moved on, I'm always going to be that young boy in foster care, wondering who I was and whose I was. I'm always going to be that young boy. And I'm reminded of you every time I think about the answer to that question. And I hear you saying to me and to those of us who have navigated that system, you're mine, you're mine. That is in essence what your life has said. You are mine. And we feel that just being in your very presence. And we never forget you. We recognize, of course, this tribute to your life, your work. And I want to conclude with one of my favorite poems, not the entirety of the poem, but the meaning of it. And it's Ulysses by Tennyson. And there's a very popular and actually very well-known line in Ulysses when he says, I am part that all I have met, which means in essence that all of our journeys take us to certain places, connect us to certain people. And when we are at the end of that journey, we look back upon it fondly and we say, that is the way that it should have unfolded. I am part that all I have met. This journey has been intended. But being a lover of history and of poetry, I knew that was not the last line of Ulysses. And I thought, well, what could he have had to say that was more powerful than I am part of all that I have met? Because it signals the end of a journey. This tribute is not the end of a journey, actually. And especially when you look at this through the lines of Tennyson, because here is what he says after that. He said, yet all experiences is an arch where through gleams that untraveled world whose margins fade forever and ever when I move. How dull it is to pause, to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use, as though to breathe were merely life. Life piled upon life were all too little, and of one to me, little remains, but every hour is saved from that eternal silence, something more, a bringer of new things. May you have brought all of us so many new things, and we know that your journey is far, far from over. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for those kind words.
Oh, man. Steve, we want to say thank you. Dean Caldwell, we want to say thank you for hosting this celebration for Dr. Joyner. Before we bring in Dr. Gary Bailey, Marla, we saw some coming in from Mitt's family. And we saw a couple of coming in from Congress Angela Henderson. Would you read a couple, please?
So I see Angela's. I don't know how Mitt is keeping it together. I'm over here crying. So, but I will attempt to read a few more of these after Mr. Pemberton's wonderful, wonderful tribute. She truly is a guide and a beacon. Mitt is, without a doubt, a lighthouse to so many of us. So we have here from, like I said before, Dr. Angela Henderson. Thank you for your leadership, heart, courage, and love, Mitt. Thank you for everything. Love you. And I'm going to go back up because I know that there were quite a few that were just absolutely beautiful. I wanted to read one from one of your students, Evangeline, and she says, as a MSW student at Johnson C. Smith University, I am inspired by hearing all the beautiful tributes to Dr. Joyner. I am encouraged to stay strong in doing the challenging work that we do. Thank you, Dr. Joyner, for all that you do for social workers and the NASW. May God continue to bless you and your endeavors. And I share that with you, Mitt, because it's not just all of us who have known you for years and have accomplished great things, but those that are coming to this profession now. You are still inspiring students and those around you. And Evangeline, I'm glad that you are on this right now to see, the light from a lighthouse that shines bright. Joe Cedars says, Dr. Joyner, I am unsure how adequately thank you for your leadership and extraordinary vision for all that you have done to inspire me and the profession we both cherish so dearly. She goes on to share a lot, and I hope that you get the notes from all of this. But she says, I may just be your #1 fan. I think she might be number 2 or 3. I'm not going to make sure that she claimed that top spot, but I can assure you that the vision you have shared with the world, and more specifically for the profession of social work, it lives in me and always will. And I think it lives in all of us. You live in our hearts, Mitt.
Thank you, Marla. We saw several more. We even saw Dr. Sandra Crew from Howard University, Dean Crew. So we'll come back and read a couple of those.
Yes.
Dr. Gary Bailey. Dr. Gary Bailey. He is an assistant dean for community engagement and social justice at the College of Social Sciences, Policy and Practice at Simmons University. Professor of Practice in Simmons School of Social Work and Nursing and Health Sciences. And he is the president of the NASW Assurance Services Incorporated. Dr. Bailey is the past president of the International Federation of Social Workers based in Bern, Switzerland, the first person of color to ever hold this post. In May 2019, Professor Bailey was selected as a Fulbright specialist for the United States Israel Educational Foundation at Boston University School of Public Health Maternal and Child Health Center for Excellence. He serves as a mentor in the Diversity Scholars Leadership Program. He was appointed by Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker as a mentor of the Massachusetts LGBTQ Youth Commission. Professor Bailey is a longstanding member of Boston's historic United Methodist Church, where he is the chair of the church council and the member of the leadership team. I have been told by Doretta Richards in the NASW office that Dr. Gary Bailey is Mitt's brother from another mother. Let's please welcome Dr. Gary as he introduces us to Yvonne Chase, Dr. Yvonne Chase, Dr. Gary Bailey.
Thank you so much, Dr. J. And my apologies, my voice is a little garbled today because I've had a sore throat for the week and just getting over that. But as Marla Blunt said, I wouldn't be silent to not celebrate Mitt today. So a little garbled is worth it to be able to celebrate my sister. And Steve Pemberton, I'm going to tell you, when you and Mitt first met, we were all together, the three of us, having dinner at Nancy's on Martha's Vineyard. for the 100, when we were doing the 100 social work voices on the vineyard. And we had dinner there, and immediately within half an hour, you two had clicked and bonded, and it hasn't come apart since then. So I remember that magical moment. So Mitt, you have done so many things, and I just want to know, you've held the Triple Crown, Chair of BPD, Baccalaureate Program Directors, President of the Council on Social Work Education, and now the President of NASW. You're the #1. No one else has done that. So that's that Triple Crown. That is your place in social work history. But I want to acknowledge that when Black women are elected, they don't break glass ceilings, they break concrete ceilings. So each one of those, you have been breaking through concrete that has been girded under patriarchy, white supremacy, heteronormativity, and you've broken through all of that to make room for all of us. And so thank you, Matt, for all that you do and continue to do. And she's tenacious like a terrier. She is tenacious like a terrier. It is my pleasure, but she's also a sportsman. So she's been running this race, and it's like a relay race, so that she's running, looking at the finish line, but she's got her hand back, passing the baton to the person who's coming up behind her to take that baton to keep running the race. And that is Dr. Yvonne Chase. And I have the honor and privilege of introducing my friend Yvonne Chase, who I've always found to be intelligent, articulate. She's effective, passionate, curious. She's comfortable with who she is and with others. She exhibits what I would refer to as a positive curiosity about the world around her and about her colleagues' areas of interest and practice and scholarship and their families and their friends. She has an ability to try new ideas and share her own thoughts and experiences, which continually enhances any experience of which she's a part. I, over the decades, have had decades, that S is a hard one to add in there, but it has been decades, Yvonne, over the decades to be able to observe her in action in meetings nationally and internationally, and I'm continually impressed by her grasp of broad social issues, and especially those which impact racial and ethnic minorities, and her willingness to lend her voice at crucial times. As an NASW leader, she has served on our national board. I had the privilege during my tenure as NASW president to appoint her to the NASW Insurance Trust, which is now NASW Insurance Services Board. She went on from there to serve as the treasurer of the NASW Insurance Company, NASWIC. She chaired the NASW Chapter National Modernization Task Force, which was not an easy lift, but one that was necessary. And she's also served on numerous other social work boards as well. I look forward to working with her as she assumes her new leadership role with NASW when her term begins in July. People, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, I introduce to you Dr. Yvonne Chase. Yvonne, come off mute.
Thank you for the reminder. Talking to myself here. Thank you, Gary. I appreciated that introduction. And as the president-elect, I have to say, Mitt, as I listened to the analogy of the lighthouse, you have definitely and continue to be that lighthouse. We need to all remember that not only have you chaired the national board, but you chaired it through COVID. And so there were some unique issues that you dealt with during that period of time. And in the almost a year now that I've served as the president-elect, you have also been a mentor to me, have been not only gracious, but in helping me understand the depth of what I'm getting into. And it's impossible to say that you're a hard act to follow. I think you're an impossible act to follow. So I hope you will still be there in the wings, because I'm sure I will be calling on you numerous times in the future, and still depending on just your clear and very concise approach to things. As individuals have said today, your voice reminding us that as social workers, we all need to have that voice and to use it. And I want to thank you on behalf of the board. And I've seen several board members come into the chat to also thank you personally. But just to thank you on behalf of the board and on behalf of the national staff, but also on behalf of all the chapters, because you've been active and I think really brought the chapters in as part of the larger NASW family. And just listening to others who have spoken so eloquently of all of the other things that you have done. You've been an inspiration not only to those of us working in the field, but to students and how important that is. I can't say enough about all of the things that you continue to do. And I'm hoping that you, again, continue to do those things. You have mentioned on and on about the need for social workers to have a voice. And when we see social workers who have now been elected to public office as a result of that mentoring that you've given individuals over the years, it just reminds us that we all need mentors and how important it is to have a mentor like you. One who has a vision of the future, but understands the past and knows what we have to do to get through the gnarly mess that we might be in at any point. I've heard you say that we're living as social workers right now in a very tumultuous times, and we certainly are. We're going to need some guidance to move through that, and we're going to have to move through it with the power of our voices as a collective in working with the other agencies. And you've had that experience with all of the other agencies as well that form this collective. And I know that you've been working as you finish your time with president, you've also been working to really see that we continue that close association with other organizations and form that coalition that's so necessary to see the entire voice of social work, not just one individual organization. So just on behalf of the board, the staff, and all of the members of NASW, we just want to thank you so much for what you have done and continue to do. And we know that you will be there for us as we continue to fight the good fight. Someone said, it only takes one voice to spark change. It's amazing how much change you have sparked with that one voice. So thank you again. And I hope you will be there as I move through this. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Thank you, Dr. Chase, for those remarks. Dr. James T. Freeman has dedicated a significant portion of his personal and professional life to his work in the nonprofit and community services. Dr. Freeman is the current Chief Program Officer for Second Chance Incorporated. Dr. Freeman also serves as an associate professor for the MSW program at Johnson C. Smith University in the School of Social Work, and is also a licensed clinical social worker, holding license in both Pennsylvania and North Carolina. Much his efforts have been around working with African American families in support of enhancing their growth and development to assist them with competent community services that reduce barriers in a strategic effort to build strong families and safe communities. Dr. Freeman is a national thought leader in child and family well-being. He serves as the chair of the National Association of Black Social Workers Finance Committee, a co-chair of the NABSW National Conference, and the executive consultant for the Black Administrators of Child Welfare. Let us welcome Dr. Freeman as he welcomes his dear friend, Dr. Anthony E. Street, who will come and introduce our guest of honor. Dr.
Hotep and good afternoon, family. It is an honor to recognize and to introduce to some a dear friend and brother and colleague of mine. Now I have his formal bio because that's what they was doing. Dr. E. Street is professor and chair of the Master's of Social Work program. He has been at Morgan State University. E. Street is also the founder and chief executive officer of Next Steps Treatment Center in Baltimore, which provides substance abuse. Dr. E. Street has garnished multiple grants. He has directed and revitalized the substance abuse program and directed services at Morgan State when he was there. And he now serves as the chief executive officer for the National Association of Social Workers. I have every confidence in the world that the young man that I met when we started our PhD program together, I wanted to honor our dean, Dr. Anna, who is on the call, and I want to honor my dean because where I get to serve and she supports me and is the creator of this event, Dr. Helen Caldwell. But I want to also state that I only got to meet Mid at bars through Dr. E. Street. And I found her to be a wonderful inspiration and to be real and honest. She gave us some just hard feedback that really helped me in the direction of my next steps and what I was planning to do with my degree and how I wanted to engage in my research. So I honored Dr. E. Street and I honored Dr. Mitt. And I just wanted you guys to know from not just his professional side, he's a really cool cat and an honest dude. Dr. E. Street, I introduce you to some and I present you to others on the call.
Thank you, Dr. Freeman. And so I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Dr. Mildred Mitt Joyner. But how do you introduce Mitt when everybody already knows Mitt? There's literally probably nobody on this call that does not know Mitt. And so I'm going to introduce her in the best way that I know how in telling stories about my relationship with Mitt. And so one of the best stories that come is it's really one of those things that talks about Mitt's vision, but also her leadership. It's when we decided, she and a couple people decided at one point in time that we're going to do 100 social work voices on the vineyard. It was an idea that was thought about and conceptualized like, oh, this is something that we should do. And the Mitt was like, cool, we'll do it. And then they started working. And then my good friend, Dr. Tiffany Lane was like, oh, Mitt wants you to join this thing. We're going to do 100 social work voices. I was like, cool, it sounds like a great idea. When are we planning? Like, we're planning 2 years out, 3 years out? They're like, no, we're planning it for this summer. And so Mitt was like, we can do it, it's fine. And so when we talk about leadership, when we talk about mentorship, when we talk about guidance, it's that level of visionary to kind of see things that we can't see right now and then help us to get to that place that we need to be. And so throughout that whole process of planning a brand new national conference where we had people, social workers from all across the nation convene on Martha's Vineyard. We had Mr. Steve Pemberton as our guest speaker, and it was an awesome event. But when we first started talking about it, it seemed super overwhelming. And all I kept hearing in my mind was Mitt saying, calm down, we'll be all right, we'll pull this off. And so Mitt is one of those individuals that can see the vision, but can also keep people on the path and guide them towards where they need to be at. And so for me, this has been my experience in my relationship with Mitt, because Mitt is also one of those people that I can literally pick up my phone and call whenever I need, and she will always answer. And if she can't answer, she'll text you back, hey, I'm doing something right now, I'll call you back in 5 minutes. And she will call you back in 5 minutes. And what will follow from that is literally a 2-hour strategy session that you weren't even prepared for, but she will give you the strategy, the ideas. And when you get off that call, you're like, oh my goodness, I just signed up for 4 different things that I didn't even sign up for today. And so, I know everybody can read Mitt's bio and all her accomplishments. You heard Dr. Bailey talk about she has the triple crown. You heard Yvonne Chase talking about just the mentorship. You heard Dr. Vakalahi talking about how Mitt mentored and lift as she climbed. And I've had that same experience. And for me, Mitt has been a friend, a confidant. We talk about sports. We talk about everything. We talk about social work. And that is what I look at when I see leadership. Is somebody who is a leader, but is still very reachable. Mitt has always been a mentor. She is at conferences, students can engage with her, faculty can engage with her, and she has never gotten to that point where she is too big for anybody to get in contact with. And that to me is one of the most special things about her, is that she is very human, she is very real, and she is very down to earth when you talk to her. And so I don't want to belabor this point and really talk about my experience, because look, I love Mitt Joyner, and we talk all the time, and this is literally one of those things, but I will say she has guided me when I was on the national board. She encouraged me to apply for the CEO position, even when I wasn't quite sure about it for myself. She was like, just apply and see apply and see what happens. And so, you know, we went through that process. It was tough, but rigorous. In the same sense, we're still remain friends today. We'll be friends tomorrow, and I want to turn it over to the woman of the hour. Mitt, you're up.
Well, thank you, Dr. E Street, Anthony, that I call you. And I want to thank everybody that spoke today, and also thank Dr. J for organizing this, Dr. Caldwell for sponsoring it. You know, I'm overwhelmed. I very rarely have nothing to say, but this is one time I really don't have too much to say. You know, I do have to thank God, because he put me in this position and guided me to social work. And obviously I want to thank my mom and my dad. They're no longer with me, but they were the social workers. Although my mother was not an official social worker, she took in kids, not formally through the system, just anybody that needed their child for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, running through hard times. They came to our house. And my father always taught. He was an electrical contractor, the first in our area, who went and got his electrical contract, had to go up against the union because he was African American, and brought other people into the country, into the, Chester County, and actually the first African American electrical contract business owned in a tri-state region. So I have to thank them. And then I have to thank my family. You know, I know my husband's listening to this call in another room, and he's probably wondering. I run everything through him. Every night we get into political discussions, we get into discussions. He's like, why do you always have to take a position, right? And he helps guide me, and he's always been there and listened to me, supported me when I would go on all of these conferences and watch the kids. He's just someone that's more than a husband. We're actually getting ready to celebrate our 48th wedding anniversary the first week of April. And it's been a ride, and I so owe my life and everything that I have to him. And then God blessed us with twins, and then a singleton. You know, they're different. Twins are different from your singletons. And so we first had twins, and they were two girls. And to go up against twins is very powerful. When, you know, even when one is wrong, the other one speaks up for the wrongness, you know. And so they are two beautiful women now, one living in Atlanta and one living in the DC area. One has my grandbabies, two beautiful grandsons, and that's why I do what I do, and I worry about our country the way that I do. Then I have my singleton. She is the one who I actually got to buy extra things. But, you know, when Cabbage Patch dolls were out, I had to find 2 Cabbage Patch dolls for twins. The good thing was that I wanted African American Cabbage Patch dolls. So Toys R Us told me I could have as many as I want because they weren't as hot. So I was able to get their dolls. But for Jackie, my singleton, I've been able to bounce things off of her without having to balance the two. And so God blessed me with 3 beautiful children and 3 beautiful women that are doing magnificent things. None of them are social workers. One's a clinical psychologist, one's in HR, and one is a lawyer. And they all have pieces of me. But oftentimes we have these conversations, and I'm like, okay, you know, they grew up on campus. They organized my books. Part of their summers were spent coming to my office, putting books back into ABC order. They were with me all the time. They hated when we went out because we'd run into social work students, and they would always say, Professor Joyner. And they're like, oh, Mom, here we go again. Just can't you be Mom for a day? So I want to thank all of those individuals. I also want to thank the institutions of higher learning. I went to HBCU, so Central State University, that's where I received my BSW, and Howard University that I share with Yvonne Chase, because we passed this torch of, okay, it's got to go to a Howard University person. They molded me, you know, moving to the district and being able to see things that I never thought that I would see, because I was a country girl. I was born in Kennett Square, Westchester, but I remember going down to Howard and one time, at that time, students were allowed to get food stamps. So I was in line to get food stamps. And when I went, you had to go early in the morning for whatever reason. You went at 8 o'clock to stand in line till 9 o'clock while you watched everybody get their coffee. Then they let you in the door. Well, this woman that was ahead of me, her legs were swollen. She was an older lady. She had a bag full of papers, and she walked in the door and she said, "I want to get food stamps." And they said, "Well, you got to fill out the application." And she said, you could see that something was wrong. And she said, "I can't read." And she had to just say that out loud. "I can't read." And they were like, "Well, you've got to go back home and you've got to fill out those papers or bring somebody, but we're not filling them out for you." And I said, "Oh, excuse me." I said, "I'll take your bag." And I started filling out her application. Well, the next thing I know, the administrator of the thing came out and said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm Mitt Joyner." At that time, it was Mitt Carter. "I'm Mitt Carter, and I go to Howard University School of Social Work. And when I graduate, I'm going to come back and take your job because you will never treat another individual like that." And they looked at me and they let me in. I got my food stamps. A lady got her food stamps, and we went on. But that is what I feel social workers always need to do, to speak up when you see something that's just not quite right, which my mom taught me to do. All of my friends, some are on the call. We had a Nubian travel group. They all know about social work. They all know that social work is not there to just go and study and apply your research. It is there for you to take action and to take risk taking. And everybody on this call, I stand on your shoulders. That's the beauty of going to Howard University. I always say I'm walking in the footsteps of people that make change. And they did. You all, I am Ubuntu. I am because you are. I am because all of you are in my life. All of you will tell me, "Now, Mitt, slow down." Martha, who was there on the board, I always look towards her to give me that direction of stay within the bylaws, don't go off the court. I would always, when I got tired, Gary would say, "The person that wears the crown," he would always tell me, "It's heavy, but wear it." I would always look to Catherine Schmidt. "I have a writing block. I need some help. I don't know how to say this in the way that everybody's going to take it." I looked at Steve Pemberton. Actually, I met Steve at our conference, and I was so enamored by his story and so upset by social workers who asked some private questions that I thought they shouldn't have asked. And I went up to Steve and I said, "Wow, Steve, you know, they shouldn't have asked those questions to you." And he said, and he slowed me down and said, "That's okay." Because they were all asking about his mom and his dad, and they were acting as if they could replace his mom and dad, and they couldn't. They just couldn't, but he made them feel good. And he said, "They're here and they're supportive of me." I met Dr. J, trying to organize and go on the Hill and really kind of push the act for Whitney Young Jr. and also Dorothy Height when we got started with the Social Work Reinvestment Act. And she has stayed on it. She did her research on it, really kind of stayed with that. And once Dr. J gets your name, she has you forever. So all of those things are things that I've done not because of myself, but because I do have grandsons and I watch them grow, and I have daughters, and I want a world for every child to just so that they can reach their fullest potential. We have a code of ethics, and the code of ethics doesn't say anything about color, gender. It says nothing about that. It says that everyone has the right to reach their fullest potential. What I worry about today, you notice it's going to come with a sermon. What I worry about today is where we are. Every day I look in the news and I actually text Anthony E. Street. "Okay, what are we going to do about this?" Because every time I hear about women's rights or about the attack on LGBTQAI plus community or about removing books from the curriculum, I worry about, are we going backwards? But then I know that there's a whole lot of social workers out there. And I know that they are ready to take action and that they're ready to do something to ensure that all people can reach their fullest potential. So we can't listen to the news and then get depressed by it. That's why my friend Marla always says, okay, so what are we going to do about it? You know, that's Marla. So before you get it out, like, oh my, you know, Dada, I'm just so, okay, well, what are you going to do about it? And to understand that you may not achieve, but if you don't try, my father's favorite line was, nothing beats a failure but a try. And if you don't try, you're going to fail. And so that is what I plan on doing. Someone asked me, okay, so in June, when you are no longer June 3rd, I turn this over to Yvonne at the end of June. What are you going to do? And I sit back in my chair and I go like, I'm gonna rock. I'm gonna rock for a while, because I know that there's a lot of you out there that have wonderful ideas and intentions. You intend to change social work, but not only social work, our society. You know, your neighbors who sometimes wonder, like, well, why do I care? To be able to show them why they should care about removing books from the curriculum. You know, removing books from the curriculum is not, or from the library, is not just to remove the books, it's to keep white supremacy. It is so that we don't understand our history and that others don't understand our history. But we are a very powerful group, because to me, diversity is the thing that the states have. That's so right. The beauty of the diversity of our society is one of the best things that we have here in the United States. And that's what we must practice and we must preach. I am not going to keep you on this call because it is it's hard for me to have listened to all of your words. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being on this call and for taking the time to honor me and give me a tribute. But these have been some difficult times for me lately. And so your words are really, they resonate with me. But I want to end with my favorite poet, because I want to give you a charge. And my favorite poet is always Langston Hughes. I can get into a book of Langston Hughes and just like, he just lives today. But right now, there is a dream in the land with its back against the wall. By muddled names and strange, sometimes the dream is called. There are those who claim this dream for theirs alone, a sin for what we know they must atone. You see, unless shared in common, like sunlight and like air, the dream will die for lack of substance anywhere. The dream has no frontier or tongue. The dream, no race or class. The dream cannot be kept secure in any one locked place. This dream today embattled with its back against the wall, to save the dream for one, it must be saved for all. Our dream of freedom. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for this tribute.
Thank you, Dr. Joyner, for those powerful words. As you were speaking, my mind went back to the first time that we met. Probably it had to be about 15 or 16 years ago at it was a BPD conference in Destin, Florida. I think you might have been the president then, and I met you with Dr. Andre Stevenson. And from that time on, you have made an impact in my life. And I just want to say it has been an honor to co-host this event, well, to be the co-MC with this event with Dr. J. And thank you again. It was an honor to be in this position to honor you.
Dr. Johnson.
Yes.
Before you bring in Dr. O, can we take like 1 minute, Marla, to bring those special tributes to Dr. Joyner, and then Dr. Johnson is going to bring in Dr. O real quick. There was just, I think it was just 3 special Because we're,
Right.
yeah. there you
Right.
go.
This will be posted on multiple websites and
Yeah.
and it is being recorded. So the comments that I haven't shared, you can read and see because they're all beautiful. But I wanted to make sure that I brought in the Mecca for you, Howard University Dean. And I believe Dr. Crew, she posted twice, but one says, Mitt, thank you so much for leadership and capacity building for the Jacob Fellows. Howard is so very proud. And she also shared other words of tribute. And then also Dr. Wilma Peebles Wilkins, Mitt, larger than life, footprints in the sands of time. And then the last one that I wanted to read to you, if I can find it, it's from the Honorable J. Curtis Joyner. You spoke of your love of 48 years, and I just wanted to read to you what he wanted to share with all of us and the world. He wrote, Mitt, congratulations on this great testimonial. We and the family are so proud of you and your many accomplishments. As your husband, the family have been there with you and shared you. Is that right? And shared you with your love and passion for social work. And we wouldn't have it any other way. Love you and keep on being a hero. Back to you.
Thank you, Marla. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Dr. O, the Dean of the College of Business and Professional Studies at Johnson C. Smith University.
Well, thank you so much, Dizette. It is a great honor for me, an incredible privilege. Now in my third month as Dean of the College of Business and Professional Studies here at Johnson C. Smith University. As I listen to your words, Dr. Joyner, they resonate with me. You see, I'm married to an MSW, and she got her MSW in Missouri, University of Missouri, Kansas City. And I'll never forget till today, late nights coming back from study, doing projects, and we stayed up. I would listen to her debates for her courses, whether they were about policy, social work policy, research, clinical work. And then when she started working in the local community with dozens of cases, specializing in gerontology, as well as in foster care. And it resonated to me in a way as a human being that, my wife was committed to something that we all take for granted. I'm a business guy, okay? I'm a business dean. My discipline is marketing and business. But I'm always checked. She really brings me back to understand the challenges that we face in a capitalist society, in a society that isn't equal, in a society that really is not balanced in terms of the haves and have-nots. It's so widely disparate in terms of economic equity. So I want to thank you and the rest of this group that took part today. You all spoke eloquently. You all inspired me. I'm very incredibly nourished by what you had to say. But I bring you greetings from our president, Dr. Ambresta, as well as our senior vice president for academic affairs, Dr. Morgan, and the entire community from Johnson C. Smith. We've been privileged to host this event on our campus, and I'm so proud of the work of my colleagues in the School of Social Work. I'm incredibly proud of the work of Dr. Helen Caldwell and the entire team of the faculty and staff in the School of Social Work. When I was coming for this job, and I told my wife, I said, honey, I'm going to be a dean, but you know what? My college also includes the social work school. She said, hooray! And so we celebrated that. We really did. And here we are, in a position where we're part of a community, part of a campus environment that is doing incredible things in the community. In the words of Thurgood Marshall, I just want to share with you, he wrote, in recognizing the humanity of our fellow beings, we pay ourselves the highest tribute. And if you think about that, Dr. Joyner, your work and the work of the entire profession of social work, that's what you do. Trying to make a difference in the lives of people. And then lastly, in the words of Martin Luther King, and he wrote, and I quote, "The time is always right to do the right thing. The time is always right to do the right thing." And over the years, over the decades, collectively, the social work profession has made a commitment to doing the right things. And it's a privilege for me to be a part of this process, part of this experience here at Joseph C. Smith. So I'd like to thank everyone who took part in this program, all the speakers, the singer, from Georgia, where I used to live, by the way, in Atlanta, Georgia. So thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I am so enriched, so incredibly proud of the team we have here. And I know, Dr. Cordway, I'll be handing the baton to you here, but I just want to personally say thank you for your leadership. Thank you for overseeing what I think is perhaps the best school of social work on the planet. Yes. And thank you for being by my side as a co-dean, okay. And your wisdom is something that I've already counted on in just a short 3 months, and I know we'll continue to do so for the foreseeable future. Thank you once again to all. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We so affectionately call our dean Dean O. Thank you, Dean O, for your kind remarks. And you have been so supportive and encouraging of the School of Social Work, and we're just so happy that you're here. And so much has been said, the richness, the awesome remarks, the love. Did you feel the love, the amazing love of grace that we have experienced today? There's very little to say. What else can be said? But that we love you. We love you, Mick. And we will continue to love you for what you stand for who you are. And I love the way you talked about your parents. The legacy. We need to understand who we are. Comes from our parents and grandparents. It's a legacy of richness that I know they're all smiling at you. So we thank you so much. I would like to just go on to say that there are other people who contributed to this. And I just want to mention and just say, of course, Dr. J is different. She has been just the beacon of light to School of Social Work. And I can't say enough about her and her co-partner on the side, Lizette Johnson, and others who continue to lift our students. And that's what we're about. We know that we have strengths, we're professionals, but we also have students that we're trying to lift. And they are being lifted at Johnson C. Smith University, which is one of the HBCUs that we all reign about. We're so happy and proud of our HBCUs. They all are different, but they all have commonality, and we value them all. So I just want to just say that moving forward, I want to thank the Joyner family. The comments that were made from your husband and your daughter just bring tears to your eyes, because you know how much they love you. And they can tell you that, but they want the world to know how much they love and appreciate you. So we are so grateful for that. And we're grateful to the contributions worldwide, contributions of NASW, BPD, CSWE, deans, NADD, faculty, legislators, students, and friends. And let me also move on to say there are other things that the Johnson C. Smith School of Social Work will participate in before the end of the month. And then that is the a policy of students will have debate. Talk about students now having a debate. And these are from Fresno State University, Mississippi State Meridian, Arizona State University, and Johnson C. Smith University in a competition at the social policy debate on Monday, March 27th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, those sojourners who are a part of that are Dr. Judith Crocker Billingsley, Dr. Dizette Johnson, and others. So we just thank you for the barriers that are being broken, for the love that's been shared, for the acknowledgement of someone who is at the top. And so we appreciate you, love you, and want to just end at this time, unless there are some other remarks that need to be said. Dr. Johnson? No other remarks, Dr. Billingsley?
I'm tearing up like the rest of us. Dean Caldwell, we want to say to you, Dr. Helen T. Caldwell, for mid, as you know, during March of Social Work, my Johnson C. Smith is always going to do something on a larger scale, but this is another vision of Dr. Caldwell. You know, this is one of her visions, and you know, she wanted to co-host, and she did a marvelous job for actually, you know, doing today. So from the depths of our heart, nationwide, worldwide, Dr. Caldwell, thank you for sharing. You see they applauding you. Go ahead and give Dean Caldwell, Dr. Caldwell, that applause, y'all. Yes, yes, yes. And like she said, Fresno State University, Mississippi Meridian University. Oh, I see you over there, Mayor. Okay, who's the other one? Arizona State, Johnson C. Smith. Get ready, because we're going to win that trophy, that social policy debate. You did this to us, so we are now ready. If nothing else being said, thank you, thank you, thank you, Marla. Be on the lookout for the recording of this event that will be posted on our website, right, Dr. Caldwell, and of course, and we'll send it to your team, who we graciously say thank you as well to. So if nothing else being said, Dr. Chase, get ready. We coming after you. All right, take care.